Welcome to my life. Let's shine on the light. We don't talk about sin. Welcome to my life. Let's shine on the light. We don't talk about swim. We don't talk about swim.
Hi, so I'm Ed Accura. You probably know me as co-founder of the Black Swimming Association and the producer of the Black Can Swim film documentaries. Today, this is Why We Don't Talk About Swim. So it's a podcast, that's a monthly podcast, which talks about the issue within the African, Caribbean, and Asian communities when it comes to swimming and aquatics in general. We also talk about a whole host of other issues that happen within the community. Today, I have a special guest. His name is Emarvellous. So anyone or everyone that's watched the music video Why We Don't Talk About Swim and the one before that, which is Can't Be What You Can't See, would know Emarvellous. And anyone that hasn't watched these or seen these music videos, then shame on you. This is the time to go watch them. So at this point, I will pass on to Emarvellous for him to introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emarvellous. I'm an artist stroke support worker. And I enjoy helping those who can't help themselves. It gives me such pleasure to be able to help people give something back to the community. And that's what I'm a firm believer of that.
So that's great, because when you say helping people that can't help themselves, first thing that comes to mind is myself.
Yeah.
I always need help.
I mean, like being in the care sector. But, you know, even when I'm not at work, there's times people come up to me and start conversating with me. Because I'm a good listener. I listen to people. And do you know what I mean? I always think to myself, just spend some time with people, because you don't know when you're going to need someone to spend time with you.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing. So, as this podcast is called Why We Don't Talk About Swim, it only makes sense for us to start with listening to, what your swim story. And the thing is that everyone has a swim story, regardless of whether you can swim, whether you don't swim. There's always a story behind it. So, what's your story?
Right. I remember when I used to go to school and stuff like that, and I was like learning from like an instructor, like when used to come down to teach us, but I didn't really show not much interest in it. So like I used to go every now and then like later on I realized that I should have took up swimming lessons, because it would make me much better swimming today. So let me give you another example. There was a time when I was in Barbados and I was on the ship, the Jolly Roger ship, and then someone's glasses fell into the sea, and he thought I was a lifeguard, so he came up to me. So I was like, I was dressed up like a lifeguard. Well, I had a bandana on and stuff like that. And then they said to me, "Oh, excuse me, sir, my glasses is falling into the sea. Is there any way you can dive in and get it?" Then I felt to myself, how do I tell this guy that I can't swim? But eventually I told him that I couldn't swim. And I felt so helpless because I couldn't do anything. I thought to myself, supposing it was like a member of my family or someone I knew well, and they was in a sea or whatever, and they needed help, or do you know what I mean? And I couldn't do nothing to help them. I thought, oh, wow.
But I'm going to say something which I wouldn't probably have said this 5 years ago, but I'm saying this now. I'm glad you couldn't swim, because if you could have swum, if you did know how to swim and you went inside, you could have been putting yourself into danger. Exactly. Because you're not equipped to do that. You know. And one thing that when I started learning about water safety and drowning prevention, that I heard, which to me at the time didn't make sense, was that if you see somebody throwing themselves, if you see somebody falling into water, do not go get in there and try and save them. Exactly. Because what you're doing is you're putting yourself in danger, because that person is looking for a lifeline. Yeah, exactly. So you jump in there, that person is going to hold onto you for their dear life. So
then we're both at risk.
So you're both going to, Yeah. So they say that's why it's advisable to understand if in case of this kind of situation, what do you do? Who do you call? Do you call the Life Coast Guard? Do you call the fire brigade if you're in London, or that kind of thing, and ask for tell them where you are and all that kind of thing. But do not actually get in there. If anything, throw something to them. Throw them something with buoyancy so that they can hold on to. But do not get into the water.
Do you know what? There was another time when I experienced loneliness, because I can see on the ship everyone's jumping into the water. I'm the only one there not jumping in, even though I had a life. I had a life jacket on, and even then I still wasn't confident to jump into the sea.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking the worst. Because the minute you're going down, you think, you're going to continuously be going down. But obviously that life jacket is there for support. But I was thinking a different along those lines at all. I mean, I was thinking very different along those lines. But I've got to give, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I have to give thanks and praises to a man called Mr. PL. We was on holiday together in Barbados, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the confidence now to be able to swim, because he sort of gave me lessons while I was over there. He started off in a swimming pool, and he was showing me about the momentum. So basically I was up against a rock. So he just said to me, just keep going backwards and forwards to build up the momentum. And then he said, right, push yourself off. So basically I went into the water and I was gliding across. And then he said, right, start kicking your legs. And then I started kicking my legs. And that's when I realized I can I always knew that you can, once you kick your legs, you can stay above the water. And that's exactly what I did. And after that, after a few lessons, you just, without even thinking, you go into the water, you just jump in there and then you just do what you do in the water, tread the water and stuff like that. And he said, what he said to me, he goes, wow, my job is done. you actually can swim now.
Yeah.
Now you're catching up with us. You don't have to worry about if you need to jump over into the sea and you're on a boat. You can just join us now because you've got the confidence. You've built up the confidence. But I didn't realize that I was doing it at the time. It was only because he was, each day while I was there, he was teaching me the lessons and stuff like that. And then after, it just comes like a second nature or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I didn't realize I was going to get that far. One day I just jumped into the water and I just started doing what he taught me, and he felt happy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you can swim now, so that's a great thing. So people around you, your family, friends, children, do they swim? And how engaged are they in swimming?
Some people I know that do swim, and some people don't. And you know what the worst thing is? You can get people that were able, normal swimmers and stuff, but they lost confidence because they haven't been practicing it for a long time. So they freeze and they think, they start also thinking the worst. So I know some people that can, I know some people that can't. But the people that can't, they talk about wanting to learn, but there's no movement at all.
I had a conversation with a lady, it was a few weeks ago, and basically I've known this lady. She's from New York, and she runs a swim school for various different communities called Swim Strong, and she's a white lady, Sean Slevin. She's a white lady, and so basically she's been around this campaign since its infancy in 2018. And I have regular conversations with her every now and again. We have a chat, and she was talking about the issue. One of the issues that she faced was that she couldn't understand why a parent would spend God knows how much money on their child's hair.
Yeah.
And usually a black parents, on their hair. But when it comes to swimming lessons, they would. Long story short, why they will prioritize hair and beauty over swimming lessons.
Yeah.
And she said she finds it very hard to understand that. She struggles to understand that. And I said to her that obviously every person is different, and every person has their different motivations, and every person has their different priorities and such. But from where I am coming from, somebody who's only recently learned to swim, it's a priority thing. And a relativity thing. It's what you're relatable to.
Yeah.
So this person you're talking about, They know that their child has to have their hair done. It's part of their identity. It's part of how they look and all that kind of thing. So basically, they'll spend the money, they'll spend their time, and they'll get that done. Swimming has never been part of if that mother didn't swim, the parents didn't, the parents before them didn't swim, then swimming is not even part of their, what do you call it? And that's why I call this podcast Why We Don't Talk About Swim. Because if it's not part of your agenda, if
You're
it's
not going to pay attention.
You're not going to pay. And no matter how, what, you know. And the thing is that if you don't live by the sea and you're not in that environment, and like I said, your friends don't swim, your parents don't swim, then why would you say, and that's the issue, And I experienced that myself, and I've said it on this podcast a number of times that I was once in a situation whereby I was with friends, with a colleague, and we had a stressful day at work, and he said, "I can't wait to get home so I can just go and just go change and go to the pool and just relax in the water," and and I'm like, okay. That is, to me, is not a kind of relaxation thing. You know what I mean? I wish I could be in that position, but I'm not. Every time I go to a swimming pool, every time I go on holiday and I'm going to get in the pool, I have to mentally prepare myself to get to that
I've been
stage.
in that position. I remember when I was going on a cruise, the first thing I thought was the Titanic. So I was thinking, man, I don't stand a chance. So do you know what my plan was? To walk around on the deck with a swimming ring round my waist, 2 armbands, and a life jacket all together.
Emarvellous, you're taking it to another level, man. Listen, I thought I was bad with me just wearing the life jacket in what you call the film called Black Scout Swim, but go wear a ring around you. But it's true, though. I mean, we laugh about it and we joke about it, but it's true.
It's just the fear. And I had to be, whenever I was in the swimming pool, I had to be touching the floor.
Yeah.
That's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And my daughter's 13, Lolita. She's like, because she's been around this all her life, and so her it's common. So when we're going to a leisure centre or going to on holiday or going to, she's just ready. I'm just going to get in the water.
Yeah.
There's no problem. But me, I have to think about it. I have to process it. I have to get myself mentally ready and such. So. Somebody asked me, so what we're doing, these conversations we're having, this advocacy that what is it gonna do? And I said, it's gonna change the narrative. That's basically what we're doing, and we want to change the narrative. But when it's going to be, the question is when. And I'm saying that for us here, I mean, it will make some changes. Yeah. But majority of the changes will be our children and our children's children, because they are seeing what we're doing here right now, and that's going to affect their thought process and how they react to water, how they get engaged with it, all that kind of thing. So, in a few years' time, hopefully, in a few generations, hopefully this issue will be more or less eradicated. That's what I think, anyway.
Well, that's the best way to think, man. And if you constantly think positive, anything is possible. Do you know what I mean? But you just got to believe in what you're doing. And obviously you're believing what you're doing. That's why you're continuing doing what you're doing, which is a good thing. Because swimming is a lifesaver.
It surely is.
Definitely.
It surely is. So, your day job, you said you're in the care business.
Yeah, in the care home.
So how does that, it's obviously it's connected to, it will have its connection to water and all that kind of thing through maybe yourself. But let's talk about what you do, because you say you help people. You help people. So can you elaborate on that? Can you?
Okay, there's a lot of it's just a fact of people that can't help themselves, as in like you got people that are like, or not like, people that are autistic and for other things they can't do to support themselves. You get people that's like in wheelchairs, so you support them that way as well by using a hoist, and so making sure that the hoist is properly strapped onto him, and then you got like a remote control and stuff like that. There's other ways of helping people, as in you taking them out like for day trips and stuff like that, so that gets them away from the care home. So that's and a lot of engaging with them. And then to be honest, it makes my job easy because I spend quality time with them. And when I engage with them, I get a good result. I'm not going to just come on shift, leave someone in a bedroom and not talk to them and find out what's going on and stuff like that. But everything I do is a help. It could be the smallest thing is a help, because we like do arts and crafts and things like that to help them. Even like if something as simple as Connect 4 and stuff like that, that gets them brain engaging. Some of them can't do it the first time, but I'm with them all the time, and then they get used to just slotting the little counters into the holes, and then they actually grasp it themselves. But everything takes work. But I'm getting so much pleasure out of it because I can see the difference and I can see them growing.
So it must take a certain kind of person to be able to do this, and the reason successfully.
Yeah.
And basically what I'm trying to get to is that there's a job opening, there's an application form you fill in, you do an interview, you get the job. Okay, that is the easiest part of it. The hardest part of it is sustaining it.
I've got an answer for that.
Yeah. So basically, it has to be something, and I'm thinking that there has to be something in you that make that, you have to be that kind of person to enable you to do that job long term.
I'll tell you why. Before I even became a support worker, I was a support worker without even being one. Reason why that was at the time, I used to be in anywhere I was. I'll get people that's like you could see that they're misfortuned in myself, like they've been like they've had I don't know, it could be a bad upbringing, not even so much that, it could be an illness. I'll sit down and listen and speak to them. And then I'll get random people. I could be going on a bus, and then someone comes up to me and said, "Oh, I can speak to you." And then, do you know what? I just took it as advantage. I thought to myself, you know what? If people are happy for me to just come up to me, and I'm a random stranger, and speak to me, I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get a job or something to do with this kind of thing. And I thought to myself, and that was like outreach without even doing outreach.
Outreach, yeah. That's exactly what I said. You know, you have to be able to, because otherwise it'll become a job.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying that goes, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something along the lines of, if you enjoy your job, you won't have to work a day in your life.
Exactly, because it comes so natural.
Yeah.
I remember when I was working in the Blinds Institute, and then I found it amazing. It was brilliant. Because you obviously they're human like everyone else. They just lost their sight. Some people have like macular degeneration and various other glaucoma, and they're like they're just normal, just like us. It's just that they lost their sight, but they've got like an extra sense to make up for what they've lost. And I used to have fun times. I used to like go to Birmingham to the Blinds Institute fairs.
Yeah.
So they had like TVs, radios, and stuff like that would actually talk back to them.
Oh, okay.
And then I found, wow, that was just like so different for me. And then obviously I'm reading their letters, so I'm some used to them. I'm helping them as well. There was a time when I was in the Blinds Institute, while I was filling in the application test, I had to do something else, which is like a physical thing. So basically, they put glasses on me. I couldn't see out of them, and there was like patches underneath the glasses. They gave me a cane.
Wow.
Right. And then someone was holding me. They was trying to make me get the feel of how a blind person felt.
Yeah.
Right. Some blind people, they've actually, well, majority of them, they've got used to it over the years. Mm-hmm. But I think it will hit them more when they had their sight and they've lost it. I felt like I was in that kind of category. So someone took me outside. The minute I got outside, I was in a state of confusion. Reason why? Because I had had the glasses on. I can hear everything, and everything seemed like very high pitched and that. But I just started basically panicking. But I didn't act like out of control. It was all just inside. So they brought me to the traffic lights, and they said, "Oh, this is called Braille, even on the floor." And then they said to me, "Okay, at the traffic lights, before you cross over, put your hand underneath the there's something that rotates, and that's how a blind person knows how to stop."
Wow.
I didn't know none of that at all. But it was just giving me, and then I think to myself,
That is very interesting.
sometimes we take what we got for granted.
Yep. Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
We do that all the time. Yeah.
It's only when you work with someone with a condition you
You
realize.
really understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even, and it's just a blessing, like being able to eat properly, because there's some people that's got dysphagia. And then dysphagia is like you can't swallow like solid food, so it has to be blended up, liquidized. Or some people have like are peg fed, and peg fed is, you know, like when you got like, it's like nutritious bottles like with milk in it and stuff like that. And then you actually have to prime it by putting water in it first to make sure the tubes are clean. Then you attach it to the resident.
Yeah.
And then it just blows you away. So I think to myself, oh, thank God. Do you know, I'm everyone's blessed in their own way. But I mean, like I said, we don't know how privileged we are.
Somebody once asked me that, oh, Ed, why are you always so cheerful? Why are you always happy and all that kind of thing? For the record, I'm not always. I have my moments, but the reason why I always seem cheerful is because I can remember many years ago, I think it was Paddington Station or something like that, and there was this guy sat in a wheelchair and he had no arms, no limbs, no legs. And he was sitting there and he just had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, if he can be there in that context, that situation, you know, chatting around to people and all that kind of thing, and have a smile, then what excuse do I have? You know?
Exactly. And you know what? A lot of us, where like the mental health affects us, like financial things and stuff like that, and material things. You know what I mean? And then there's people that are very misfortunate than ourselves, and they're still happy. So, like you said, what's our excuse?
Yeah. So there's something that brought us together and keeps us together in many ways. Music, right? Right. So, you know, you've done a number of songs with myself and Say So, but you've also done a number of songs, you know, independently and about various different subjects.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing. It's just, I made a conscious decision probably about 10 years ago that for me to continue making music, it has to be music about something, about this. I have to have a particular subject that, you know, for discussion.
Like a music with direction.
More about a subject, a particular subject, an issue,
Right.
or a subject, yeah. So there's one song that you made about autism,
Okay.
right? Which is very, very touching, you know, very touching. And then there's various other songs that you've made. So tell us a bit about your music and what incentivizes you, what motivates you in writing those lyrics.
Okay, like day-to-day life, that's one thing. And being in the care sector has helped me a great deal, because there's people going through a lot of things that you don't realize. So that's how I was like, that's how I was able to come up with Never the Mental Health. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, myself and Mr. X, we had like discussions and things like that as well.
Pause there for a second. For the purpose of everyone that's watching this that doesn't know, Mr. X is the legend behind the directing of Black Cancer campaigns, and everything visually that I do is Mr. X. So Mr. X, he's going to have to live forever, because when there's no Mr. X, I don't know what else.
Yeah, this won't be happening.
So yeah, sorry about that. So continue. Yeah.
So like, and I was thinking, oh wow, I can't exactly do anything to stop anything because I'm not a specialist, but I could try to understand. I could engage with them, and that's what gave me the inspiration to make the tunes, like the autism. So like just to spread more awareness. People knows what's happening and stuff like that, but that's my way of spreading awareness, because doing it musically, hopefully everyone gets to hear it.
It widens the audience, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
And that's one thing I said about the Black Cancer campaign, because basically we are speaking to people that normally would not have any engagement with what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically when I'm talking about water safety, and the majority of the people that I engage with outside of the sector, in the community, they would not be having this, you know, conversation. And I always quote the statistics: 95% of black adults and 80% of black children in England do not swim. So these 95% and these 80% of children, they are not listening to what is being said in the sector about water safety, drowning prevention, and all this kind of. They're not having, because they're not part of that environment, So therefore, we need relatable mediums like music, like films and podcasts and things like that to engage with them, to attract them, to reach them, and that's what your music does. It's the reach goes beyond the NHS, it goes beyond the conversations within that that forum. It goes to everyone else, and I think that's very, very powerful.
And having a social media platform that helps as well.
Oh yes,
that broadens it.
Yeah, I mean, social media. I mean, that's another episode. I mean, just talking about social media, it's done so much on the positive side, and it's done so much on the negative side as well.
Exactly.
But that's a subject for another day. But one question I have, and simply on the topic of autism. Nowadays, I hear so much of people being diagnosed with autism. Yeah. There's a lot of kids that this one's got autism, that one, and it never used to be that. Yeah. So what's and this is something I don't know, and it's a question to you. Do you think it's because we now have the tools and means to diagnose it more?
Definitely.
Or do you think there's more being created by social media, by devices, and by kids and all that kind of thing? What's your thoughts on this?
Oh, my thoughts is the same, because like a lot of things were like undiagnosed from back in the days, and then they would consider a child being naughty child, and it's just a fact of it was, I would say, they didn't have the tools at the time and the understanding. So I don't know for sure, but it's just one of my theories. I can't definitely say yes it's that, because I ain't no specialist in that. But I think as the population's growing more and stuff like that, and like a lot of young children has been diagnosed with a lot of things. So I think that's one of the ways of spreading it out there. Yeah. The awareness.
Yeah. It's very, very important, and because like I said, you've done songs on autism, you've done songs on mental health
and well-being,
and well-being and all that kind of thing. And I remember I listened to one of your songs, and I sent it to Mike Wallace of Kickoff at 3, and at that time he was doing a campaign, something to do with mental health. And I sent it to him. And he just went crazy. He goes, "Oh my gosh!"
And he messaged me back straight away. Yeah,
because he said, "Wow, this is something that's really good." It's good to listen to music about everyday life, love and the club and all that kind of. It's important to have this kind of have this mix, have a balance.
Because if you just put it just one thing, you're just gonna be known as just that one word artist and haven't got nothing more to say. Like, you know what I mean? So it's best to just do all kinds of music and stuff that are uplifting. As well,
which is very we need it, because we go through the pains and struggles of the everyday life. Sometimes you just need to listen to something,
mix and match.
And that's what I do. I come here. I know Dr. said that this is so my studio. It's actually the family dining room, but I've just hijacked it and I just use it for listening to music. And I would say
a lot of my strength is the pen to paper.
Yeah.
Regarding tunes and stuff like that,
and that's what I'm saying. I just listen. I like listening to music, and it takes away the struggles and that's why I was having that conversation about when I have a bad day, I come and listen to music.
Yeah,
and I found it hard to comprehend that I should actually go to the swimming pool and chill, but people say water is soothing, and it is soothing, that kind of because when you're in the water it's peaceful and all that kind of thing.
Do you know what? And I would say, a lot of the time, what gave me inspiration for looking after people and stuff, I used to see my mum do it, to look after the elderly and stuff like that, going out. And she used to sometimes do that voluntary. A lot of the times it was voluntary to give back to the community, which was amazing. So I saw all that, and that inspired me as well. There used to be some lady I used to help across the road. And this is how Emarvellous came about now.
I was going to get to that, but go on.
She took me across the road and she said to me, "Lovely, you're bloody marvellous, you are."
Emarvellous.
and that was it from then. And all the neighbours in the area, because I was working for the council then, they all started calling me that. So I thought, okay, I mean, I use that as a stage name. And that's, you know why I use that name as well, as a name you can't forget.
Yeah.
Marvelous is in a lot of slogans and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then that was it. That's how I got the name Emarvellous.
Well, now you know, guys. So you're a parent, and you make music. It's nowadays it's hard with social media, and the youth, they have so much challenges. There's so much, they're being pulled here, there, and that, so they have to be motivated. They have to be inspired, given the right direction and all that kind of thing. I've got a daughter. My daughter's 13-year-old, so I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Every day is a learning curve. Every day is
exactly.
a struggle. Every day is a challenge. So, as a parent, how do you motivate your kids? How do you inspire your children?
Do you know what a good thing is? Because my mum used to motivate me all the time, right? And then I thought, yes, that's something I'm going to do when it comes to my children. So basically, you engage with them, you spend quality time with them, you explain the wrongs and rights of things. And I would let them know, like, if you're going to do something bad or negative, there's consequences. So they think about the consequences when I'm explaining things, and trying to do the best that I can to explain things. And it's just basically a lot of engagement. That's what helps you. That's what helps me as a parent. People might find different ways of doing it, but what I do, I have to say, thank God, it works out for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Like I said, I'm learning every day.
Yeah, everyone's obviously path is different. Mm-hmm. What might work for me might not work for you. Yep. But I just believe in trying, no matter what. And I'm a family-orientated person as well. So it's important. If I don't teach my children, who else is going to do it? Yeah. What, the streets?
Well, there you are.
I don't want my children swallowed by the streets.
And that's the problem. That is the problem we're having right now. When you look at the knife crime and you look at all the kind of things that are happening, and I've been in a situation whereby I've been, engaged. I've engaged with young children, or shall I say, young adults, that have been going down the wrong direction and try to bring back to the right.
Yeah.
So it's
and it takes a lot of work. It does take a lot of work. But the main thing is, no matter how much work it is, you try. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing. Not to sort of like, oh, I'm going to control you or anything like that. But I mean, like, try and give them guidance. Guidance is always the key. Guidance was, and that's why I thought, just my music, man. That's my tool and stuff like that. Because my daughters used to ask me, how do I relieve my stress? I pick up that microphone, right, and various other things as well. Sports. I used to go like to the gym every now and then and stuff like that. There's different ways. So tell, what is the world to look for in the form of Emarvellous in the very near future? What's out there? What plans do you have? Is it because I heard from a little bird came to me and said, EP. I kept mentioning this word EP. EP. And I go, what are you talking about? EP, EP, Emarvellous, EP. So I don't. So I've got a mixtape coming out.
Oh, mixtape. Okay, all right. Okay, the bird gave me the wrong information. He kept on saying EP, but it must have been mixtape. Yeah, I just heard it wrong.
Produced by the genius himself. We have to bring up that famous name, Mr. X.
Mr. X. Mr. X in the house. Okay, so what's going to be on this on this mixtape?
It'll be like a concoction of like the mental health and basically like some happy tunes on there, uplifting tunes. The well-being tunes are going to be on there, and I'm not going to break out too much, but
keep us waiting. Keep us in anticipation.
Exactly, and that's always the way, because people are going to want more, aren't they?
Yeah. So where can people find you?
Right, you can find me on Spotify. You can find me on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, various platforms.
Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere. Yeah,
exactly.
So Emarvellous. So it's E. How do you pronounce it? How do you spell it?
Yes. All in one.
So just E and the word marvelous.
Yeah, together. Yeah.
Good,
exactly.
Good. Well, thank you very, very, very much for coming on to why we don't talk about swim and everything else. And it's been a pleasure.
Do you know what? I'm most appreciated for being able to have the opportunity to come on your show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.